Exactly. It generates into a society that is basically enslaved by these conglomerates. That's exactly where I was wanting to go with the conversation, and I'm pretty sure that now you can see the same thing, regardless whether it's the medical industry, regardless whether it's the petroleum fuel industry, regardless whether it's the basically the legal system pertaining to the political system with lawyers and judges. It's all a big game, and they're preying on the people.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
But they was talking about this on the news the other day pertaining to Google and Facebook and all this other stuff. Um, this government ain't gonna be satisfied until it owns Google and owns Facebook and owns YouTube and owns all these other social media platforms, because they've done figured out whoever is in control of the gizmos and gadgets are basically going to be the ones that's going to be able to call the shots.
Yeah, yeah,
They're going to be the ones to be able to control the people. Once
yep,
more, holding the people under bondage.
I know. Yep, that's exactly, yeah, I know. You're right about that. That bondage thing, yeah, it's there, you know?
So we're going back to the Egyptian days. The only difference is that they're no longer using a chain and a ball and a whip to control us.
Yeah, that's why the religion I do, the Saturday, they really stress to go wherever you work, you know? Tell them, hey, I have to have a Saturday off, you know? I need a day of rest from all the BS, you know, basically. They don't put it that way, but you know what I'm saying? You know, I want some time out that I can spend to worship my God, you know, to
Not
worship
only
God.
that, not only that, but the human body wasn't made to work 10 hours a day,
Yeah.
7 days a week.
And it is refreshing because you know that Saturday is, you're definitely going to have that day off work. And on top of that, I usually go to church. You know, we do potluck lunches and stuff, and it's refreshing because you know you get in, you focus on
It's
God.
therapy. It's therapy.
Yeah, it is therapy, and it does help. And you and then you go back to work on like Sunday or Monday, and then you hear about all these stress issues that they had to deal with on Saturday, and I just tell myself, man, I'm so glad I wasn't here. You know, it's like my Saturday turned out to be pretty good. You know, I didn't have to deal with all that stress. I have to deal with it through the week, you know. But Saturday is my day to not
The
deal with it.
human mind, the human body was not designed to take on this type of a load, especially since social media has come on board, and now they're realizing that it is
Yeah,
having a profound effect upon people's emotions.
yeah. I had this lady comes in and buy stuff at Eagle Stop, and she's like, she goes to church on Sunday at the Baptist church. She says, they always schedule me to work on Sunday. I said, you need to tell your job that you go to church on Sunday and that you need Sunday off so that you can go to church. You know, because everybody needs that day off, you know.
Right?
So I believe Saturday is a true day of worship, which it really honestly is.
Probably.
They got changed through the Catholic Church when the Catholic Church was in charge of the world.
Everything was changed, Joanne. They
Yeah,
changed the daylight hours.
yeah,
Now
yeah,
we've got save daylight savings. We've got all this other stuff. But there was at one time the
the
world
time,
the
the
world
day,
was on a 5 day cycle. Then it went to a 10 day cycle.
yeah,
The calendar has been altered and changed so many
yeah,
times that it ain't even funny.
right. Yeah, and the Jews have a different calendar than what we
Yes,
have.
they do.
So, you know, if you look at their calendar, and then the church I go to, the Holy Day Feast, they use the Jewish calendar on those feasts. So those feast days will land a little different each year because the Jewish calendar is a little different than our
And if the
calendar.
truth be known, Jesus Christ was not born on December the 25th. He was
No,
more he was
no,
more he was more so born whenever the mother lambs was giving out their babies. We know that because Jesus being in the stable, and there being lambs and stuff like that in the area at that time. So if the truth be known, Jesus was probably born either late April or early March.
yeah, and the Christmas holiday has a lot of history to it. And if the truth be known, I believe the Christmas holiday is a Catholic holiday, and I believe that the Christmas holiday is part of the beast.
That's the
Beast
reason. That's the reason why Martin Luther broke away from the Catholic Church, was because the Catholic Church was basically trying to dominate people's lives in a demonic form.
Yeah, they were. And the Christmas holiday, Christmas Eve, the priests were commanded by the Pope. They had to play Christmas songs on Christmas Eve, and if they didn't, it had to be an organ. If they didn't, they could be arrested
Or punished. Yeah.
Yeah, they were punished for certain things. If you study some of the history in it, wow. And the Pilgrims, when they came over here, they did not celebrate Christmas. They did not. Our United States government never put up a Christmas tree in the White House until a certain year. Christmas trees started becoming real popular.
Yep.
And I'm like, that to me, the Christmas tree, and there's a statement in the New Testament about a decorated tree being an abomination to God.
Yep.
Okay, what, when I think about that, what does that really mean, a decorated tree? But what it is it's a dead tree. You take a live tree and you chop it down and you kill it. You kill the tree. You stick it in a container and it'll live for a while, which is almost a form of torture to a tree. You put decorations on it, and when it gets too dry, with electricity today, it can catch on fire and burn your entire home down. Okay, and you wait, the tree finally just die, and then you just toss it out after your holiday and toss it, in a ditch. You can't even use pine for firewood, and just toss it in a ditch somewhere. Trees provide oxygen in the earth.
That's one reason why that the earth is reeking what it's reeking right now, because we've cut down all the forest.
Yeah. Well, now you take, nowadays people say, well, we do fake trees. Fake trees is still representing what the real tree was. It used to be real.
It goes back to adultery. Adultery. It goes back to worshiping idols.
It's got to be what that's pertaining to, and it leads into a form of idol worship.
Because you can idolize anything, Joanne. You can idolize sex. You can idolize money. You can idolize a brand new Corvette. You can idolize your job. You can idolize a dog. You can idolize anything.
Yeah, but Christmas. I do like the Christmas holiday. The Christmas holiday has an addiction to it, But it's in all reality, where that holiday actually came from has nothing to do with Jesus Christ. They put Jesus Christ's name on it. The reason why they did that
to make it more acceptable with the Christian society.
Yeah, and they could get more followers and memberships to their
Well,
church.
they could turn more bucks. They could make more profit. They could make more profit. But once more, it goes right back to the greed. It goes back to the money.
Yeah, it was all of they did it out of greed, not out of love.
Right. Right.
So, and it's like, okay,
but do you not agree? But do you not agree that Jesus was probably born somewhere in the month of March?
I think maybe he was either in the month of March, or it was either during the spring months. I know he passed away during the spring months. He was crucified during the spring, but it could possibly be the fall months too, when he was born. Because the shepherds came out. The shepherds were, the sheep were grazing in the fields.
The sheep was not only grazing, but the sheep was having lambs.
Yeah, they were having lambs.
That's right. And if you look at the equator, look at the globe, look at where our dimensions are, towards how far we are from the equator, and then go to the other side of the world, we're basically in the same spot where Israel and Jerusalem is in the Middle East.
Yeah, we're actually allies to them, and then we are on the same kind of climate as them.
That's right. That's right. So whenever winter was over there, winter was over here. Whenever spring was over here, spring was over there. So whenever the sheep was having lambs, They're going to have lambs in the spring.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when does most sheep have lambs? Somewhere early to mid March is whenever they start having their babies.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that right there tells me that December the 25th is way off course.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It is. It's way off course. So and it's also the birth date.
Now Easter may be more acceptable towards the Passover.
Yeah, Easter itself is a pagan holiday. Easter is it's a Catholic holiday.
It is, but if you look at the time cycle, it's probably a whole lot more accurate than Christmas.
Yeah, it's close around that time that Christ was crucified.
That's right. That's right.
Their holy day feast, they had the Passover, and then they wanted his body down before the first holy day of unleavened bread. So it was around that time of year. And if you look at their calendar, that time of year is around the spring, around Easter.
Didn't you tell me that you're going to Seventh Day Adventist Church?
I was, but I'm going out to this other church now in Eldon, and they're just a non-denominational. They're a Seventh Day non-denominational. So they're just a Seventh Day, kind of like a Seventh Day Judaish type church.
It seems like that was a group of people that I run into about 30 years ago, and I got to talking to them about the two witnesses, and I got to talking to them about end time Bible prophecies, and they somehow or another, and it may just been this particular group, I don't know, but they had this ideal that the two witnesses, that the first witness was the old Bible and the second witness was the new Bible. Have you ever heard it explained like that?
Yeah, no, that's a different group, because these people believe in the whole Bible, the Old Testament and the New Testament.
But do y'all believe that the two witnesses is based around something symbolical, or do you believe that the two witnesses is actually going to be two live human beings?
This church, they believe that the two witnesses is going to be two live human beings.
Good,
so,
good, because there's no way for a symbolical entity to die and then come back to life 3.5 days later and the whole world see their bodies resurrected. There's no way for that to happen in a symbolical way. That has to be a true red-blooded human being to do that.
The Adventists believe it's a symbolical, and I disagree with them on that. I don't think it's a symbolical, because like you said, their bodies are going to rise again from dust.
That's right. And you know where that's supposed to take place at?
Jerusalem.
Where the new temple's being built.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
See, we had a preacher that come all the way from Texas. We was having a revival over here in the Assembly of God Church in Sidonia at the time. It was in the mid-'70s, about 2 years before Douglas Keith got killed on that motorcycle wreck, which he got killed in 1976. That was the bicentennial year. I can't forget it because of the year that it took place. But this preacher got to talking about the spotless heifer. Have you ever heard anything preached on the spotless heifer?
Spotless heifer, like a cow?
Uh-huh. A heifer is a female cow that had yet to be breeded. That's not considered a cow. She's actually considered to be a virgin or a heifer because she hasn't had no children yet.
Okay.
So they're called heifers. Well, according to the Bible, there's going to be a spotless heifer that will be placed upon to the altar as a sacrifice.
Oh, okay.
And as far as I know, Israel has been looking for this, and as far as I know, they got about 4 or 5 spotless heifers that is absolutely pure in not only blood, but there is not one hair that is different than the other pertaining to the color.
Yeah.
But now there's also a prophecy, not just a legacy, but a prophecy, that the indigenous red man, the Indian people, would rise again pertaining to the white buffalo that it's basically going to be under the same pretense of being perfect, spotless.
Yeah.
They've already got them too.
Yeah.
I think they're up in Ohio or somewhere like that.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
In other words, you can analyze them and fine tune them and get a bunch of scientists together and start looking for one hair that's a different color than the rest of them, and all the hair will be exactly the same.
Wow.
So these things are lining up in the same time frame of where we are right now.
What they're lining up for is a great and terrible day of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're really in the long
lining
run,
up for the day of lining up for the day of judgment,
Yeah, you know, so if they don't change their ways and try to pull, you know what Jesus said, you know, come out of her, come out of Babylon, come out of the ways of the world, come out of it, pull yourself out of it. See, when you pull yourself out of it, you can look into it and see what's going on.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. See, did I ever tell you about that group? Did I ever tell you about that group of people that was called the Yahweh people?
I think you mentioned them before. Yeah.
This guy was in Milan. He could write like 5 different languages. He was a professor out there at the Martin School for a while. He was very, very highly intelligent. He had long hair and a big white beard. Me and him there towards the last had such of a disagreement that the old man pulled out a Jim Bowie knife, a large kitchen knife, and we run around the kitchen 3 different times before I wound up going out the back door. He was actually going to kill me.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But I actually went with him over to East Tennessee in a little town called New Tazewell. They got a town called Tazewell, and then they got another area called New Tazewell. That's about an hour drive from one another, up there pretty close to Bristol, Tennessee. You know where Bristol, Tennessee is?
I've heard of it.
Where they got the NASCAR race up there going into Virginia and up that way.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I went there, and these was the type of people that still practices, Joanne, snake handlers.
Oh, man.
Have you ever been in a service that they have snake handlers?
No, I've never been in a service.
Do you want to be in a service with a bunch of snake handlers?
I really honestly don't. I don't care much for snakes. I'd be like, see ya.
Well, these people was ingrained in using the true Hebrew name of Yahweh.
Oh, yeah. The church I'm going to out in Eldon, they like using the name Yahweh, which is okay. I understand because Jesus has a lot of different names.
Absolutely.
But, there's only one name, though, under heaven that you can obtain salvation by, and that's the name of Jesus Christ.
But that's the point that I had to make with the old man that made him so upset, is that they was actually worshiping the name more so than the character in behind the name. They was asphyxiated with the name Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh. He even reached a point that he even told me that as far as he was concerned, that Billy Graham was going straight to hell. And I asked him, I said, why would you say such of a statement like that, Mr. Orlando? He said, because, first of all, he don't believe in the Sabbath towards it being on Saturday. And number 2, he does not pray and preach in the name of Yahweh. He preaches in the name of Jesus Christ. And once I broke it down and I figured out how to approach him, which took about a year of studying him and going to different Bible messages and Bible studies, and we went to New Tazewell, stayed up there for about a week with a group of people up there that, man, you couldn't ask for a better group of people towards them liking you, shaking your hand, hugging your neck, bringing all kinds of food and all that other stuff. But after I got to looking at them and studying them, I figured out these people aren't necessarily worshiping the character of the name Yahweh. They're actually trying to worship the name Yahweh, the name itself. And the way that I broke it down to the old man was this way. I said, you know, we call water over here in America water. But in reality, scientifically, it's H2O. I said, you can go to any parts of the world and they'll call that same H2O a different name, but it still means the same thing. It's still H2O.
Yeah.
I said, what you guys are doing, you guys are worshiping the name more so than the character of the name.
They're worshiping
The entity of the name, they're worshiping the name more so than the entity that the name belongs to.
they're worshiping one of his other names. Jesus has a lot of different names. He has a lot of different, what would you call it, character roles. Now, the Adventist Church pointed this out, and we did the Bible study on it. The archangel, see, the original archangel, which was Lucifer, was cast out of heaven.
That's
So
right.
they're no longer a high archangel, but if you look in the book of Revelation and read through that about the archangel Michael, they think that that archangel is Jesus Christ. And he plays the archangel role because there's not an archangel, a high archangel anymore. Now, Gabriel is a high archangel, but Lucifer was the highest one. So they think it's, now they got a good point about that. That might be one of his other names.
You got to dimensionize things. You got to compartmentalize things whenever it comes to the Trinitarian Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, all three of them hold different positions. They hold different compartments.
Yeah, now there's only one name under heaven.
But listen to me. But out of those three that makes the Trinitarian Trinity, they're still all the same. Because the Son represents the Father and the Holy Spirit represents the Son. Even though they hold different positions, all in all, they're still of the same entity.
Yeah.
Which is the entity of the righteous entity, the good entity.
Yeah, yeah. And they have spiritual bodies. You know, they have a different type of body. There's just so much to it, so much depth in it. When you start...
you got to look at the two-edged sword that Christ talked about several times in the Bible, that it cutteth not only the fleshly man, but it also cuts the spiritual man.
Yeah.
In other words, you got to break it down in entities.
Yeah. And talking about Jesus Christ's names, each one of his names has a meaning to it. You know, there's so many different names for that. Elohim, Yahweh, Yeshua.
Great I am, Jehovah.
One, the I am. There's just so many, and it has the different meanings.
Well, you would have to know every nation, and you would have to know every interpretation of each language in each nation to understand what they was talking about.
I mean, if somebody asked me who do you worship, I could say, yeah, I worship Yahweh, you know, the great spirit, the great one, you know.
But let me tell you what, let me tell you, so many people are so confused on stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're really confused.
Yeah, and Jesus Christ, you know, you want to be careful because what he says in Revelation in the end days, that therefore anyone that believes in the name of Jesus will be saved. So there's some play there with the name of Jesus that's out there among the churches, that the next thing you know, I keep telling myself here 10, 20 years from now, a lot of these people that are getting into that Yahweh thing, is they're going to forget about the name of Jesus. And you don't want to forget about the name of Jesus because that name is the salvation name.
It's the same way with you, Joanne. Your name is Joanne. Your name is Joanne, right?
I could have all kinds of nicknames. Hey, Joe, how's it going? You know.
But what I'm saying is, the name Joanne does not make you who you are.
Right. Yeah.
My name Dennis does not just because my name is Dennis does not make me a certain category of being a Dennis.
Right. Because there's a lot of people with the name Dennis. There's a lot of people with the name Joanne.
Right. And I was familiarized growing up all throughout my life of being Dennis the Menace.
Yeah.
Because that was a popular show at the time. People build these stereotype images in their minds to where they are very narrow-minded and they can't take things and break it down like normal Christians can. And it's really a gift of God to be able to do that, because ordinarily you're not going to be able to decipher the differences between the spiritual or the fleshly whenever it comes to reading the scriptures, because sometimes the scripture is very, very vivid. I mean, whenever it talked about one of the disciples that cut off one of the Roman centurion soldiers' ears, you know good and well he didn't do that with a spiritual sword. He done that with a literal sword, correct?
Right. Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
there was other parts of the Bible where Jesus was talking about a metaphor sword that cuts the spiritual and the fleshly at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, and
Yeah.
that's the part that they have trouble with in breaking down.
Right. And I always keep this in mind. There's the type and there's the anti-type, you know?
Well, there's the
So there's the physical and then there's the spiritual.
there is, but at the same time there's also that type that are basically imposters that want to claim to be Christians and are not. Did you know that you cannot save yourself just because one day you wake up and you say, hey, I think I'm going to join this group of people over here and I'm going to be a Jesus believer? That ain't how it works, Joanne. You got to be called of God. You got to be influenced by the Holy Spirit. You got to be drawed into that family.
Yeah, and his spirit draws you and his spirit protects you. As long as you keep your relationship with Jesus, his spirit will protect you from a lot of different, because even in church, you know, you're among sheep and you're among wolves.
That's
so
right.
Keep in mind that you're not everybody you meet in church, you know, and maybe some of the stuff they might be talking about or teaching in church is completely correct. You know, that's why he tells us to study the scriptures.
It depends on how mature that they are in the Lord. You know, it took me a long, long time to identify how come some people that claim to be good, honest Christian people can smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day.
Yeah, they can't because...
But just listen to me. How come they can smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day and still claim to have a relationship with the Lord, while other people says, oh no, that's a defiant of the temple, and if I was to do that, I would be sinning. You know what it's based upon, Joanne? It's based upon maturity.
Yeah, it is based upon maturity, and then there's sins that you do to your own body. You do it to yourself. And, you know, God tells us to take care of the temple, though. He's referring to our health, to take care of our health. So smoking cigarettes or having any kind of addiction, you've got to get down on your knees and you've got to ask God for help.
That's right, but this is my point that I'm trying to make. If your conscience within yourself doesn't bring guilt of smoking them cigarettes, that what you're doing to your body is harmful, odds are you're never going to be able to kick tobacco.
Yeah, I know.
And somebody can preach to you day and night, kind of like Danny, my brother, that went to all kind of AA meetings, Alcohol Anonymous meetings, and even times he spent as much as 2 years in jail for drinking and driving, and then would turn around after he got dried out and do the same play again. You know why? You know why, Joanne? Is because the system was trying to clean the cup from the outside in. Right. And Jesus said, you don't clean the cup from the outside in, you clean the cup from the inside out.
Right. Yeah, he needed Jesus.
Yes. He needed a commitment, a relationship, and Danny, for some reason, struggled with that for years and years and years, and basically alcoholism is what took him down at the age of 56.
Yeah, it shortened his lifespan.
Sure did.
You know, at the return of Jesus and at the resurrection, it's Jesus. You'll have to take that up with Jesus.
But I got to looking at it even deeper, pertaining to his scapegoat. That basically Danny, even at the age of 15, was beginning to dabble around with alcoholism because of the environment that his daddy had created for him.
Yeah.
With all the abusiveness and all the beatings and all the other stuff that went on. And I know that you know about a lot of that stuff. I know you do.
Yeah.
I was listening to a program just as of about 2 days ago where this scientist, this psychiatrist scientist, was breaking the brain down to actually looking at the molecule level of the brain through an imagery. And she was saying that it's basically a sin that's been hidden all along, that just the way that you speak to somebody verbally can make a difference, especially in a young child that's in the process of being developed. Because a young child, they see everything in black and white, right or wrong. They don't see things like me and you see things. And you take a child that's been abused verbally, screamed at, hollered at, told that they was no good, you're stupid, you're dumb, you're worthless. You continue to keep doing that again and again and again, it's going to have some effect on them brain waves.
Yeah, it will, yeah.
And that was the part that Danny was trying to escape from, that his daddy had brought up into his life. Yeah. And basically, Danny's escape, his savior, per se, turned out to be his very demise, because it was the hops in the beer that caused Danny to have a reaction there towards the last that would make him break out in hives, make his fingernails fall out, basically look monstrous. His hair fell out there towards the last. Of course, I think his hair fell out because he was taking that chemotherapy. But basically, Danny had sores and blisters all over his body, and that was because his liver was breaking down, was failing. And then he would drink more beer to try to cover up the pain of what the hops had already done to his liver. And it was just a self-destructing course that he was on, and he died a very, very miserable death. According to my brother, it was one of the most miserable deaths that he had ever had to witness in anybody in his entire life. He basically died exactly where I'm at right now. I'm not in the same trailer that he was in at the time. Of course, I put this trailer right here on Miss Aldell's property, where her 2-story house was. But basically, he was right here in this very area where he just kept collapsing. He didn't have enough strength to even stand up, and basically he died right here.
Wow. Yeah.
On this property.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's really sad. And the reason why that I reflect on the community is because certain people in the community, especially the adults that seen what the family was going through, because Dad didn't try to hide none of that abusiveness. He would do it in restaurants. He would do it at body shops. He would do it in the middle of town. It didn't matter if he was in a field or not, in front of a group of people, whatever. I'll put it this way. The first time that I knowed about him acting so abruptly that I can remember was shortly after his dad died. His dad died in 1969. Danny was doing something down there at Hop In whenever Roy Stone and Peggy was operating the store down there. I think he was racing a car or something like that. And Dad reached into the car and grabbed Danny up by the hair of the head and drug him completely out of the window and beat the hell out of him right there in front of about 20 freaking people.
Oh, man.
20 of his peers.
Yeah.
And then there was another time before that, or shortly after that, he was on a tractor, and somehow or another drug him off the tractor, and the tractor was still going down the field, and then ordered for him to chase the damn tractor down and get back on the tractor.
Oh, man.
Talk about dangerous.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't but about a year later, Danny and Douglas got into it over here at Sharon, broke into the school and done some bad vandalism over here at the school, and he got on probation. And then, like, I guess it was in 74, maybe 75. No, I think it was a little earlier than that, more like probably 72. Whenever they missed their probation period towards coming back home, Dad had them on a probation period towards having to be at home. They went out on a date or something, and the car broke down, and the generator wouldn't start, and they tried to jump it and everything else. Anyways, they got home a little bit late, and because they didn't make the deadline, Dad goes back in the back and grabs up a black round extension cord and beats them so bad that put whelps all over them, to the point that they had to stay inside the house for a week because he was afraid that if anybody seen him, he'd turn them in.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
So that was just a inkling of the physical abuse, not counting the emotional abuse, not counting the verbal abuse that we had to go through. And of course, that had a big effect upon Betty, my mother.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. Yeah.
And that was one reason why that she alternated over to smoking cigarettes. I guess there for a while she was smoking about 2 packs of Viceroy herself every day.
Yeah. Sometimes those could become a crutch. Cigarettes, you know.
So can beer. So can drugs. So can anything other than the right thing.
The addiction to the nicotine. I know my mom smoked too, and to the point that she died from emphysema from smoking.
That's right.
She died before her time, actually.
That's right.
She would have lived to be a lot older than that if she had not have smoked.
Did you know that my mother never smoked in front of her mother?
No, because they were strict about that.
Lucille?
Days.
She never did smoke in front of Lucille, not one time that I know of. Every now and then, Lucille would catch her around the corner somewhere. She'd go outside and smoke around the corner of the house, and she'd catch her, and she'd put it out real quick and never say nothing. But she was always sneaky about smoking and never smoked in front of her mother.
Yeah, because Mama Lucy used to come down on anybody that smoked cigarettes. I think the only person that could actually smoke cigarettes in front of Mama Lucy that I remember was my dad. And she wouldn't say anything, but anybody else, boy, Mama Lucy'd be going off on them about those cigarettes. Because Big Daddy died from lung cancer from smoking.
Jesse?
Her grandfather.
Jesse,
yeah.
that would be Lucille's husband.
Right, yeah. He died from smoking.
Yeah, cancer.
So he was really down on anybody that smoked a cigarette,
Well, my great grandmother that was married to my grandfather over here, she died basically of cancer in the mouth because she dipped all the time. Back then, it was a known thing of people, spitting in a tomb and dipping, and even women dipped at that time towards tobacco dipping. And tobacco will basically, if you do it long enough, it'll kill you.
Yeah, but see now, way back in those days, they didn't know for sure cigarettes was harmful, So
Right.
They didn't know it caused cancer and all that.
Right.
They didn't know for sure what cigarette smoke did, but I think that the government and the doctors,
Already knew about it, probably all the way back into World War One. As a matter of fact, I seen a documentary on that they had a pretty good suspicion about it, and it wasn't until I guess the 90s is whenever they changed the cigarette journal, journalist that changed the writings on cigarette packs that said that went from may cause serious damage to will cause serious damage.
Yeah. But, I know my grandfather, my mom's dad, he smoked, and when his doctor told him that it does cause health damage,
I never did know him.
he quit right away.
You talking about Patsy's dad?
Yeah.
What was his name?
Ray
what?
Gunter.
Ray Gunter.
Gunter, yeah.
Where's he buried at?
He is buried at, I think the name of that place is called Sunnydale, maybe?
I know where your mom and dad is buried at.
Okay, Mom and Dad are buried...
Macedonia or somewhere over there pretty close, in between Kenton and Rutherford.
In between Kenton and Rutherford?
Yeah.
Where they're buried,
But where's your granddad buried at on your mother's side?
I thought he was in the same cemetery as they were.
He may be.
Yeah, because him and her mom are both buried, I think next to each other.
They are.
Gunter, Gunter. Yeah. Now, I don't know, I was at my mom's funeral, if that was the same...
Well, you don't remember Lucille's dad dying because he died like in 56. You wasn't even born then, was you?
No,
or barely born?
No.
There ain't no way that you remembered him.
No, Grandpa. I met Mama Lucy's husband.
Mama Lucy's husband. You don't remember him?
No, I was 1 year old when he died.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Did you remember Mama Lucy talking about her mother that talked about the Civil War era, how they used to have to hide on their houses and stuff?
No, she never really talked about that stuff with me.
She didn't.
No. Uh-uh.
How about Aunt Lily? Did she ever talk to you very much? Did y'all ever get acquainted?
No, I mean, I knew Aunt Lily, but she never talked about Civil War stuff or anything.
Did she talk about that old house being haunted?
She didn't tell me it was haunted. I don't think she believed it was haunted. Danny used to tell me it was haunted.
And the Ring girls, they used to say it was haunted too, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. They thought maybe it was, but Aunt Lily would do wakes there in the living room. And that used to, like, give me the creeps, kind of.
Did you ever hear about? I think it was her uncle that was so mean that had a wake right there in that big house. That whenever he died, they literally seen smoke rise from his body because he would rape his wife and beat the hell out of all his children and stuff. Did you ever hear her talking about that?
Yeah, I heard some stories about it. Yeah, I heard some stories.
What was all that about?
I don't know. I do not know. It's, from what I heard, he was real mean, I don't know. Back in those days, they couldn't do anything about it either,
Yeah.
Or anything. They wouldn't do anything. They wouldn't go to jail for it.
Well, see, they didn't have hospice back then whenever somebody was dying. Well, basically, whenever you died back then, you died in misery.
Yeah. They didn't have a lot of the drugs, to help.
No. And like you said, back then, it was common for people to have wakes inside their houses.
Yeah, it was. People had wakes inside their houses, So, yeah, Aunt Lily would. Yep.
But I heard a tale, it was either her uncle or her granddad or something, I don't know who it was, but it was somebody in her family that they had a wake, that they said that whenever he died in that living room, that literally they seen smoke rise from his body.
Wow. Yeah. Huh.
That he was mean. He was a very cruel, mean person.
Wow.
Yep.
Something. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I didn't know. This is the first time I heard about the smoke from his body, but yeah, I hear all these different stories though. It could just be a made up story.
Well, that old house that you lived in over by the cemetery over there that I guess you was renting from Tommy Wade at the time. That cemetery was haunted, wasn't it?
No, it was usually pretty quiet around there. I didn't notice anything over there.
Really?
Yeah.
But I've heard tales about it. I've heard tales about it.
Yeah, I heard tales too, but most of the time, whatever it was didn't bother me. I don't know. Maybe it was just,
And that old house that we're talking about that Aunt Lily lived in didn't have a bit of insulation. My God, it would freeze you to death in the wintertime, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that place was cold.
The floor would get ice cold. You'd walk across it with your feet, and it literally hurt your feet. Just to walk across the floor.
Yeah. Oh.
But that was whenever Big Jim was living. You remember much about Jim?
Yeah, just stories they would tell me. Other than that, I don't remember, anything about him.
He's buried up there in Sunnyside Cemetery, right up there beside, pretty close to Lucille.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
But getting back to the church thing, Joanne, what happened to that old man there towards the last, probably about 6 months after that ordeal happened with him running me out of the house with a knife? He had a wife that was obese, and they wound up having to put her in a nursing home. As soon as they got her in a nursing home, he winds up hooking up with some young girl down there in Jackson, and they wind up eating a bunch of grapes or some kind of fruit off of a tree, and it poisoned them and killed both of them.
Oh my gosh!
killed the old man and killed the young girl too. And it wasn't but about 6 months later till his wife died. She died over there in the Humboldt nursing home.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that whole thing fell apart just real quick. Like, it was like, man, it was like I tried to explain to you that your Yahweh quest, or your Yahweh crusade that you're on, you're putting things in the wrong perspective. And I think whenever I explained to him about the H2O thing with the water,
Yeah.
it really sinked into him towards the degree that he knew that then I was on to him.
Yeah. Yeah. See, therefore they believe in those names other than the name of Jesus Christ. There's something wrong.
And it's not the name. It's not the name of Jesus. It's not the name of Yahweh. It's not the name of Asus or Jehovah. It's the character in behind the name.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
It's the human being behind the name is who you're supposed to be worshiping.
Yeah.
You don't worship the name.
Yeah. See, the church I've been going to, they like using Yahweh like in conversation and stuff, but I'm like, I still use Jesus, and that's kind of rubbing off on them now. And I'm like, because I'm used to Jesus. I said, well, I was taught.
It can become
the name of Jesus.
It can become confusing to some people.
Yeah, that's just it. I mean, it is in the Bible. It's in the scriptures. It'll tell you all of his different names.
Yeah.
You know, and he is called by that. Some of the prophets would call him Yahweh, you know?
Yeah.
In their writings. So it's not like it's that Jesus is a stranger to the names, you know? So Jesus knows that about his names.
Now,
Like,
if you'll get to looking in the dictionary towards certain names that mean certain things, it's basically titles.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
It's basically titles.
So Jesus, those different titles, including the Archangel Michael, if you ever get time, you know, about that name, the Archangel Michael, if that's not Jesus Christ that it's talking about. So, you know, that he is, because Jesus Christ can become an angelic.
Yep.
He is angelic.
Yep.
So, and he's the highest of all the creatures besides the Father. So, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
There's stuff there that indicates that that's not just an angel, that is more than likely that's Jesus Christ. Now, I don't know. There's other church people that will argue with you that Michael is an archangel and a different entity.
Well, it depends on what angel that it is, first of all, because there's different angels that have different assignments.
Right. Yeah.
They're according to the Bible, there was some angels that was imprisoned under the river Euphrates, that whenever the Euphrates starts drying up, those angels will be released, according to Revelations, that will slew a third part of humanity in the last days. Did you know that?
Wow. Yeah, it's in other words, Satan and the demons are going to be given more power. That happening. Wow. Yeah,
So there's different angels that hold different positions to do different things, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And whether they're in heaven or the fallen ones.
And that was the reason why that I predicted that the Mississippi River would start going dry, probably about 25 years ago, whenever God showed me about the river Euphrates, that whatever's going to take place on the planet in the degree that on that continent causes the river Euphrates to dry up, for surely God, it's probably going to happen all over the world. Well, if you put 2 and 2 together, which equals 4, you start figuring out, putting all the dots together, that what mankind is doing to this planet is not just causing the river Euphrates to start drying up, but also Lake Mead, pertaining to the Colorado River, Mississippi River right now. I don't know if you know it or not, but it's so low right now that the barges had to quit flowing again this year for the second time in a row. And also they're having extensive problems down in New Orleans towards the backwater coming in through the Gulf, with it being salt water, coming up the Mississippi River, that now is getting into people's wells because their aqueduct system feeds off of the Mississippi. In other words, it's contaminating people's drinking water down there in New Orleans to the point that the mayor had to put out a state of an emergency of a city down there of about 1 million people.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that?
Wow. Man.
Yeah. And that happened just within the past week and a half. The mayor, and I guess it was the governor too that put out a state of an emergency in New Orleans. And you know good and well that if that salt water is backing up the Mississippi, like I said, they had the same problem last year whenever the Mississippi River got real low. Whenever you get to looking at these climate changes, Joanne, there's going to be so many areas that it's going to affect so many people. It ain't even funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Just like the contaminating people's drinking water.
Yeah.
Or in other areas pertaining to seeing the deluges, because the atmosphere has become hotter, and because it's hotter, the atmosphere holds more moisture, and then whenever it does release the moisture, it releases it in the form of a deluge. That's the reason why we're seeing all these floodings happening all over the world. I mean, just as of last year, not Afghanistan, but what's that other country over there similar to Afghanistan? It sounds like Afghanistan.
Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, and I don't know. I can't remember.
Anyways, there was a country over there that got flooded, that basically flooded over 12 or 15 million people. And
Yeah.
I don't know how many people that died. It was so miserable over there that they didn't have nowhere to even bury the dead because it was all flooded.
How do you like what happened there in Maui? That fire that got started.
I know.
And they said that due to the county restrictions and stuff, that one fire department wouldn't respond to go into another county to help put the fire out, and the fire just kept spreading, and they were arguing and bickering amongst themselves over crossing the county lines from going from one county to the other to put the fires out. So it sounds like that the reason why the fire got that much out of control to burn the entire city down was because
legalities.
Yeah, and it's their fault that those people burned to death. They had no escaping that, and they said that the fire was literally burning on the top of the ocean water. It went out to about a mile or something.
I seen pictures of it. They said the same thing happened about 3 years ago in Colorado. I guess it would be just west of Colorado, where basically a fire got out of control and burnt over 1,000 structures in about 5 or 6 hours, going from structure to structure, because the winds at that time was blowing about 70 miles an hour.
Oh yeah, in that case, it was the wind that really caused it to spread that rapidly.
It was the wind that intensified that fire in Hawaii, because it was catching some of the headwinds from a close hurricane that was pretty close to there.
Wow.
But getting back to the fire in Yahweh, not Yahweh, but Hawaii over there,
Maui,
the fire department had already put the fire out.
Okay.
And then they left, thinking that it was okay. It was all done. And then it started back again because of the high winds. And once it got out of control the second time, that's whenever it basically just engulfed them.
Oh, wow.
And the only thing that put that fire out over there in Boulder, Colorado, where that fire was, and that was like 2 days before Christmas. It was either the year before last or the year before that. The only thing that put the fire out was there was a blizzard that was coming in, and the blizzard basically put out the fire. They said if it wasn't for the blizzard, they don't know how many structures that it would have burnt.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
So we're definitely seeing things in modern day today that we never have even dreamed about seeing.
I know.
But you know what? But you know why they think that you know what they're saying? The reason why that it was so dry over there in Hawaii?
No.
It wasn't because they wasn't getting rains. They was still getting their rains. They was still getting heavy dews. It was because of the volcano over there, of the ground heating up, that was causing the vegetation to be so dry, Joanne. Once more, the world is heating up from the inside out. I continue to keep telling people that.
Yeah, yeah.
The world is heating up. That's what's causing the evaporation of the Euphrates rivers. That's what's causing the evaporation of the Colorado River over at Lake Mead, where the Hoover Dam is.
Yeah.
You know how low the water level is in that water?
Wow, no.
190 feet.
Wow.
190 feet. That's 19 stories. A story building is 10 feet. So you're talking about a 19-story building looking up in the sky at it. That's the depth of the Colorado River right now that is below normal.
Wow. Yeah.
So what we're seeing is these abnormalities of it either being entirely too dry or entirely too wet with the flooding, the deluges. Like I said, they claim that it killed over 1 million people over there in Pakistan. That was the country I was talking about, Pakistan, that killed so many people. But now look over there in Turkey, we're over there pretty close to Saudi Arabia, over there by Iran and stuff, where they had that massive earthquake. It killed something like 15,000 or 24,000 people dead.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
And then there's other areas where the deluges is hitting that basically washes whole towns away, Joanne.
Yeah.
So isn't this basically a clarification where Jesus said that in the last days, people, whenever you started seeing these things, to flee into the mountains?
Yeah, I know.
So what was he telling us to flee into the mountains for?
That I believe had to do with Bible prophecy, which had to do with the some of it with the great persecutions, and then some of it with the Jews.
Both.
The Holocaust.
All of it in combined. We've got right here in America more anti-Semitism towards people hating Jews and hating Christians than what we ever have.
Yeah.
It was just like whenever I moved back here. It was just like whenever I moved back here in 2014, all hell busted loose in our lives out here because they knowed who I was and they knowed what I represented. And because of it, they was making our lives miserable, that the courts was allowing for it to happen. And it went on for such a length of time, Joanne, and it caused the death of my brother at the age of 51.
Yeah. See, the book of Revelation says there won't be any safe place at all on the earth. So even fleeing into the mountains, it won't be safe, you know? So that's where I say that some of that fleeing into the mountains was already fulfilled. Because even if in the end times we flee into the mountains, and there's some Adventists that literally homestead up mountains, they know how to survive. Even they won't be safe, you know? So there's not going to be any safe place. So that's why I say that, when that starts happening, there's not going to really be, even if you flood to the mountains, it's not going to be a safe haven. Because, for one, our satellites can beam right down on you and find you, you know?
Well, it'd be safe haven in the form of living in a valley somewhere, and all of a sudden a deluge come out of the freaking sky of 18 or 15 inches of rain or whatever, and it washing not only your home away, but washing you away. You'll be safe as far as that aspect of it.
Yeah, that aspect of it would probably be the safe, and then the shield of the Holy Spirit is the only thing I can figure that people will, because there's 144,000 that are going to be sealed during that time, and they'll be protected from all that stuff that's coming on the world, you know?
Think about this for a second. Think about this. There's 2 scriptures in the Bible that really, really irritated me to no end growing up and reading the Bible and trying to interpret it properly. One of those scriptures was that God would give us over to a reprobate mind, allow for us to believe a lie, and to be damned. In other words, God can get tired fooling with a person to the extent that he'll basically quit fooling with you. And that's where it's talking about in Revelations, that he will give you over, that he will rebuke you, that he rather you either be hot or cold, that if you're lukewarm, he will rebuke you and spew thee out of thy mouth. spewing you out of his mouth means rebuking you or
Yeah.
turning his back away from you towards no longer protecting you in that sense. You know what I'm saying? Because you become hard-headed and you become rebellious, and because of it, God ain't no longer going to deal with you.
Yeah. That's kind of like an example, the Pharaoh from Egypt, Moses and the Pharaoh, the Pharaoh, he would turn his back on the Pharaoh because the Pharaoh would become hardened, and so he just let his country get destroyed.
You know how many curses fell upon Pharaoh before he finally gave in?
Yeah, before he gave in and admitted that Moses God was God.
Right. Do you know how many times it took though to do that?
Yeah, just a whole bunch of times.
It took 10.
Yeah, 10 times. Okay.
10 times, and every time that another curse would fall upon to the curse following that curse, it would be a little more severe every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would be a little more severe every time.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the test of all time,
But that shows you how God is a fair God, that he's not just going to bring the whole wrath up onto you or up onto a society all at once. He's going to bring messengers. He's going to bring people that's going to try to bring forth the message so that they can turn from the worst part of it if they will. Some people won't.
Yeah, I know.
Some people you could preach to them until you get black and blue in the face, and they're still going to do what they're going to do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's sad. We're really living in some sad, perilous times right now.
Yeah, I know. Yep, I know.
But you didn't know nothing about the mayor in New Orleans?
No.
Okay. Do you know about the flooding in New York?
No, I haven't watched the news in a while.
My God, it flooded 21 million people in New York.
Oh, my God.
Just within a week.
Yeah.
Just a few days ago.
Many natural disasters, it's hard to keep up with them all.
Yes, it is. It really is. But they're saying it's going to be billions of dollars worth of damage. The same thing as like the fires over there in Hawaii that hit this year, or some of the other natural catastrophes. That's the reason why that I think, along with mismanagement, that our government continues to go in the hole more and more every year, is because whenever there's a natural catastrophe like that, if the insurance companies went ahead and abided by their obligations to their clients, it basically break them.
Yeah.
So basically, they declare a state of an emergency, and the government puts out this whatever, and the next thing you know, now people are getting government assistance because it would basically bankrupt State Farm, Farm Bureau, and all the other ones out there because of some of these catastrophes that are so big right now.
Yeah, I know.
So where does the money? Who pays for it? It goes on the backs of the taxpayers.
Yeah, I know.
And that's why the national deficit keeps going up.
Yeah, you even have to pay taxes on Social Security now on your Social Security check. Yeah, they're taxing that.
I didn't know nothing about that.
Yep, they're taxing it. Yep.
When did that come into play?
I guess it's been in play for maybe a year, maybe 2 years. Yeah. Girl at church, at the Adventist church, said that she got her, she went to file her taxes because she was working a part-time job, and she wound up owing $800. And she's like, what? How do I owe that much? And the guy that does her taxes said that they're taxing the Social Security check. Plus, they penalize you when you have a part-time job, and you got to pay like extra taxes if you're working part-time. And I'm like, so in other words, you get punished if you work a part-time job when you're drawing Social Security.
Well,
they tax the Social Security check.
Well, the system basically set itself up to the degree that it causes couples that's been married for 20, 30, 40, 50 years to basically go out here and get a divorce because they can draw more money being a divorcee than they can towards being a couple.
Yeah, that's sad.
It is sad. It really is sad.
Breakdown of a man and woman couple. If they're gay, they probably get some tax break.
Once more, it's tearing the family structure apart. Just like all the insurance companies that invaded America in the 1800s after the Civil War, coming from over there in Europe, that started preaching in the 14th century that the pen was more mightier than the sword. Now
Yeah.
you see what that they have done to us. They have basically
Yeah.
ruined us. And there's
Yeah.
another way of looking at this. The North, which was the Union, declared war on the South pertaining to the Confederacy. The Confederacy gave in to the North and said, okay, y'all win the war. Y'all going to teach us how the cow's going to eat the cabbage. So the North, because they was more educated, they was more sophisticated, they said, okay, this is the way we're going to do things. Well, now, after 150 years later, look at where we are. $33 trillion in debt.
Yeah, that's a lot in debt.
All the drugs, all the illegal immigrants, all the other problems that has arisen just within the past, basically, few years.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, who was right and who was wrong whenever it come to the Europeans coming over here and genociding the Native American people?
I know.
You know, a lot of these forest fires that get out of control, they wouldn't be forest fires out of control because back then we had millions and millions of buffalo that not only ate the vegetation but kept the vegetation trampled down. Plus, Indians at that time had enough sense to do controlled fire burns. And now look at where we are with all our water contaminated, our air is contaminated, our basically we're contaminated. We're contaminated because of the lifestyle that we've been fond of living in the past lifetime.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we are.
There's groups of people, Joanne. They had this on the History Channel. Down in the Amazon forest where they're cutting down and doing stuff down there that they shouldn't be doing. But there's still groups of people down there that live primitive. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah.
They asked them in their language, would you please consider coming out and modernizing like the rest of the world? And you know what their reply was? No way.
Oh, yeah.
No way.
I know people that literally, have, well, I don't know them, but I've heard of people, having underground homes and live out. Some of these Seventh-day Adventist people, I've got a DVD that shows some of them where they did a DVD on how to survive out, like up in the mountains, just way out. They're the only people around for.
They're preppers. They're called preppers. They're stockpiling food and stockpiling guns, and they're getting ready for the sky to fall. It's basically what the Davidians was down there in Waco, Texas, before the federal government went down there and raided them in 1993 of the 51-day standoff. There was a group of people down there that was basically preppers getting ready for the end of the world to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
And now you got groups all over the country that's doing that.
Yeah, these people survive off the land,
Uh-huh.
So it's like, wow, they can power up their house with electricity on very minimal.
Right. Take showers if the sun's out towards warming up the water system outside on their rooftop. Yeah, I've seen shows like that.
Yeah, so I'm like, wow. This one guy, he knew how to rig his wood-burning stove for hot water where it heated up the tank. It was like incredible,
Yeah.
How,
engineering, ingenuity skills.
Yeah, they had some good ingenuity skills. You'd be surprised. I'm like, wow. It's lived like that all the time. But, when you start getting older, you need a more easier lifestyle than that. That's a lot of hard work.
Well, you need to have stability.
Yeah.
And what our country is losing right now is its stability.
Yeah, that's just it. Yeah. I could see, there's a lot of people getting into gardening, doing their own crops, stuff like that, growing their own vegetables and stuff. That does help. I mean, and if you can have cattle or something,
Right.
Have a milk cow or whatever. It's how they used to survive way back when. They had their carrot chickens.
But have you ever looked at it this way? Let's say that your neighbors did know that you had a milk cow. Let's say that your neighbors did know that you had a safe house, that you was stockpiling food and stockpiling this. Do you realize that you would be one of the first people to be targeted, that if the system was to completely, totally break down?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you get raided,
Right.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be long. You wouldn't have the cow out there. They wouldn't just take the milk. They'd take the whole cow.
Yeah. That's just it, yeah.
So we're living in dangerous times, Joanne. Don't think for a second that we're not.
Yeah. That's just it. You're better off functioning with the rest of the world, kind of,
Blending in.
Yeah, like Jesus said, you're a part of the world.
But don't be of the world.
You're in the world, but you're not a part of the world.
Yeah, don't be of the world.
Yeah. So, you're in the world, but you're not really a part of the world. You're
Yeah.
a part of it.
Right.
But you're blending in, basically, because you're in the world.
So how's Jefferson City doing?
It seems like it's doing okay. It's not having a whole lot of problems.
Has the crime rate over there increased?
I think it's about the same. I haven't heard of any increase.
How about the homeless?
The homeless, they've got the homeless shelter that's still there. It's been there for a long time. And it seems to function okay. As far as homeless, I haven't really seen a lot of homeless people out on the streets.
You know that factory where Jude was working at?
Yeah,
That was kind of a raw area down there in Jefferson City, wasn't it?
kind of, yeah, just because of where it's at. Yeah.
Have you ever heard any more from him?
Even where he lived, which wasn't very far from that factory, was kind of just a little bit. It wasn't a real rough area, but it was like kind of an area just before the rough area.
Is that where he had the body shop, or was after he had the body shop?
His body shop was actually in another town. It was in Fulton.
That's right.
Jefferson City.
But he didn't live in Fulton, did he?
No, but he would stay at that body shop all the time. So there for a while he would. He took me out to his body shop a couple of times in Fulton, but I wonder what happened to Jude. See, now Angela's doing the same thing. It's just, now you can't have a phone number to call anybody.
Well, don't you have her email address?
No.
Is she still in contact with Julie?
No.
Is she still in contact with Lewis or Nicole?
She said that her son Joe has Nicole's phone number, but Nicole, that phone number is no longer in use. No.
Well, since he's a public subservient, you ought to be able to Google his name and be able to find him. Didn't you say at one time he was a principal or worked for the school system or something?
Oh, Mark.
Yeah.
He's a computer person.
Okay, well, you ought to be able to Google him. You ought to find him.
I've got a phone number of Mark, and all I get is an answering machine, and I've left a message, and they never call back.
Well, if you know his whole name and his description toward about how old he is, color of his hair and stuff like that, you can find him if you know how to do research on the computer.
I could try to do that. I don't know.
I guarantee you. And what was the last area that they lived in? Washington State?
No, they're in Arizona.
Oh, they're in Arizona.
Angela gave me, and the only thing I know to do is maybe mail a letter or something out her way. See if I can get her to respond.
See if they'd forward it over to the next available address.
Hopefully they did. I'm like, you don't just do that to your parents. You know what I'm saying? You don't do that to your only living parent.
All parents right now are going through stuff like that, being very disrespectful as far as dishonoring their parents.
Yeah.
And once more, that's another prophecy coming true that Jesus talked about, that in the last days that children would be disobedient and turn against their parents.
That's exactly what Julia she don't call. Like if I go to call her, she won't answer by text. The only way she'll text back is if she sends these crazy pictures. that are satanic in nature, and that's all that you'll get from Julie anymore.
I think she's mentally disturbed, to be quite honest with you. I really do.
Yeah, she is disturbed. And here's the thing, she when you corner her with stuff, when you back her into a corner on, hey, you know what? Instead of going off on the certain subject, why don't we front the subject, that you're talking about? And
it's called burying the hatchet.
Yeah, because she kept going off about Donna's, my sister's first husband's brother.
Well, and he wasn't nothing but a sicko.
And trying to say that you slept with him, and I'm like, Julie, no, I didn't. I said, and then she.
If anything, he was trying to sleep with Carrie Lee. He was trying to rape Carrie Lee whenever he was putting on all them women's clothes. Remember all that?
Oh yeah, he was all weirded out.
Carrie Lee would tell you that he almost got raped by that freaking guy.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Julie was trying to tell me that, bringing that up, and I'm like, Julie, I don't know. She was asking me personal stuff about the guy's personal life. I said, Julie, you're asking the wrong person. I don't know. I said, I've got Aunt Donna's phone number. I said, you know what you might want to do if you need to know that information that badly about the guy. I said, my sister's been married two more times. She said 2 of her husbands since then. I said, but you might want to give her a call and ask her.
Isn't she in Illinois now somewhere?
Donna,
or Indiana?
Wisconsin.
Okay, Wisconsin.
Yeah. So
what's her last name? What's she going by today?
Guess what? I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's the name of that church that she's supposedly managing or whatever?
It's the United Methodist Church. That's all I know.
Well, that ain't saying nothing. The United Methodist Church is nationwide.
Here's the thing. Here's another. This runs in the family. I don't know what town. See, because there's a lot of United Methodist churches in Illinois, but you have to pinpoint what town.
How about Jude? Have you ever heard any more from him towards knowing where he's located?
No. There's no phone call, and Carrie and Shane, Carrie says he never hears from him, but Carrie lies, And then Shane would be the only other one, because when Johnny died, Jude popped up here, so apparently somebody had Jude's phone number.
You know what I'm thinking? Because he said that he was associated with a secret society of people that had a lot of money. Which is probably associated with the Wiccans. A bunch of people that's witches and warlocks.
Yeah.
Whenever Johnny died, that record had to go out publicly, didn't it? The next day in the newspaper.
Oh no, it lagged before it got out in the newspaper.
It did.
Yeah. Because it was up to me to put it in the newspaper. They don't just automatically put it in there.
I didn't know that. Well, anyways, he had to have some sort of close connection, didn't he?
I think Shane called him. I think Shane had his phone number.
Well, I've seen Shane now 2 or 3 different times just within the past month.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Shane's really showing his age. He's still got long hair. I guess he still plays the guitar, but I think he's down on his luck to the point that he's down basically being a scrounger.
Oh, wow, you're kidding. I thought he had all of his financial situation.
No, he's driving an old beat up freaking vehicle. I mean, it runs good, but by looking at it, it looks worse than any of my stuff out here. And I think he'll sleep a while over there with his brother, Kerry, and then he stays over here in Hop In with Jimmy Norton, that's married to that used to be a Sweat, May Sweat, that's about 97, 98 years old. He'll stay over there with them for 2 or 3 days. Usually he sleeps out in the car, but he does stuff really, really weird. I mean, like whenever he takes, like, to just wash his hair, he'll stay in the bathroom for like 2 hours. He's always been weird pertaining to how he eats and how he wants to sanitize everything with plastic forks and all that other stuff. But he's really showing his age, Joanne.
know. Maybe he's not feeling well. You know, it
Could
might
be,
just
could be some of them drugs that he took back years ago too. You know, that's causing a lot of people early deaths in life.
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, because he's about 60. I
Yeah.
would think.
Carrie Lee is 1 year older than me. I'm 62, so Carrie Lee's 63,
Yeah.
and Shane is just, I think, right there at the age of David, which David was 4 years younger than me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you remember that body shop that I turned him on to down there in Oklahoma, and that didn't last but about a week?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I sent him up to Kansas City, Missouri,
Uh huh.
the city above you, about 3 hours from you.
Yeah.
And he stayed up there for about a year working for those guys, the way I understand it.
Yeah. Yeah. He stayed up there for a while, as far as I know.
And I guess he must have done pretty good. But there towards the last, he felt like that they was doing him wrong. I've called them from time to time, Bill and Carrie, and they don't know what's happened to him.
Wow.
They don't know where he's at. They ain't heard nothing from him.
I don't understand that with my family. They like disappear, you know, and it's like, man, where are their values in life? You know, what is wrong with them? I mean, why is everything such a big secret? You know, Donna too, the same way. You know, I'm like, I don't understand that. I just don't understand where they don't keep their connections with their folk.
You know,
Like,
I watched a documentary on the History Channel one time about the Civil War, and of course you're talking about a completely different era with a completely different bunch of people. But one of the things that they got to analyzing that was characteristic during the Civil War is that a lot of the Civil War soldiers that was fighting would always carry a letter, an address of who they was writing back home to. And it was essential. It was absolutely essential for the United States Army at that time to make sure that if their son got killed, of letting the parents know towards giving them closure where they was killed and where they was buried at. Today, that concept of closeness has almost been completely shattered in America.
Look at what I'm going through. Okay, my two daughters, if I was to die and get buried, they're not even going to know. And then when they do find out, they're not even going to know where I was buried at.
Well, feel free whenever you do your little whatever it is, your write-ins pertaining to who's the next of kin or who can we contact in case of an emergency. Feel free to use my name and address and telephone number anytime, Joanne.
Oh, okay, yeah, I appreciate it, because I was thinking that I put Angela's name down in case of an emergency contact at work, you know, to call that number. Guess what? If they call that number, if I say I hurt myself at work, an ambulance had come along, they're like, hey, I don't think she's going to make it. We need to call.
So they'll just catch 20 to you. They'll bury you somewhere in the nearest closest cemetery, even at the expense of the county, and basically won't even hardly even get a headstone, and that'll be the end of Joanne, and nobody never remember you, and nobody would never have any closure about you if something like that was to occur.
I know. I got a life insurance policy though and then I got Morton Chapel as beneficiary, so hopefully that pops up in the system. I don't know. I got to talk to that guy about that and find out, because I didn't put my two girls, and I've got a life insurance policy where they can have some money, Julie and Angela, but I'm thinking about canceling that. Now Nicole too, I could put Nicole in case something happens.
Nicole's got a good mind on her shoulders, don't she?
She does, but Nick said that she's the same way. She has that distance about her. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's just going with the generation that she's raised up in. She's part of the millennial bunch. She ain't but what, 22? 23?
Yeah.
How old is she now? 26?
No, she's not that old. She's 22, 23.
Okay.
She might be a little older than that. She might be 24, 25.
But what I'm saying is that part of that culture.
Yeah. But see, she didn't tell me that she was changing that she has a different phone number. Hey, Grandma, by the way, just in case you need to get in touch with me, I do send her messages through Facebook, but sometimes you don't check her messages on Facebook. It can be days.
Did I tell you that Nick called me?
Who called you?
Nick?
Oh, he did?
Yeah, about a month ago.
Oh, okay, yeah. He said that he talked to you, that you had called him or something like that.
Yeah.
When?
But he called me back, and me and him had a pretty good, pleasant conversation. I mean, he let me know that that he was doing okay, and that he went and visited Lewis. That Lewis is in this, I guess, this boys' home or halfway home or something like that.
Yeah. Lewis has bipolar problems.
Yeah.
But at least he's getting help. So, yeah.
Yeah, but you know, whenever it comes to Nick and his drinking problem, it was basically probably having an effect on Lewis's disease.
Yeah, apparently it sounds like it was. Yeah, Nick calls me once in a while, and I recently called him because I was stressing about Angela not being able to get in touch with people. I'm like, Nick can't do anything about it, though, because Angela don't ever call him.
Right.
But I'm like, well, at least have somebody to talk to about it, because I just couldn't believe what Julie and Angela. It's just, you know, it's just at Georgia, you know. I'm like, what is wrong with them?
It's actually nerve-wracking, and at the same time, it's flooring, because you would never think that a child would turn against their instincts of not wanting to know or keep in contact with the parents, or at least one of the parents. But nowadays, we live in a throwaway culture, and we live in a what do they call it? A culture of division, to where if you don't like something, you just cut it off and you don't never have to deal with it again. And that's just the way that generation is dealing with problems. I even had the same type of respect a lot of times out of my son.
Yeah. I remember you telling me about Nicholas. You know,
There'll be different times that he'll call me and want to know, tell me about what's going on in his life, and there'll be different times that I won't hear from him for a year or longer.
Yeah, and it's like, man, you know, they don't know if you're dead or alive. They don't care. It's like Thanksgiving comes by, all that, you know, there's not even a happy Thanksgiving. Hey, you know, happy holidays, all that. You know, your birthday or whatever. You might be dead. You know.
Right. You'd probably be better off dead, because in a way it's tormented in living this way, isn't it?
It is, because you're sitting there without your family around, and all these other people.
It keeps you under anxiety. It keeps you worrying. It keeps you not knowing if they're okay. I mean, there's a lot of factors to put into play here whenever they dishonor their parents this way.
Yeah, it's like, and then the grandkids, you know, they don't call either. You know.
I don't know.
So,
I don't get it. I don't get it neither.
No, and it's like, okay, you know, Mateo, or Marcos. Nicole gives me Marcos's phone number, and when I call the phone number, it's not set up for voicemail. He never answers it. So, what good is having his phone number?
Man, I had to go through my voice messages a while ago. And that's one reason why I called you, is because I got your last voice message, and your voice message said something about my voice box was full. So I went through it a while ago, and it took over 30 minutes for me to clear all that stuff out.
Oh, man, yeah. I clear mine out here and there. It depends on if I have to listen to another message again. Then I have to clear all the other messages.
I didn't know that it saved the messages that you saved until you clear them out. I thought that he only saved them for like 30 days or 6 months or something like that. But no, you got to go in and clear that stuff out too.
Yeah, no, we don't. I think it used to, but it don't do that anymore. It saves them all, so you have to go in and clear them out yourself.
But I hate that about Julie or Angela. Both of them basically turning their backs on you like that, because it's a very uncomfortable feeling as a parent of not knowing if your children's okay, or not knowing that if something happens to you, of whether or not you're going to get a proper Christian burial or not.
I know, and I guarantee you that they won't even show up for that.
You don't think so?
You know?
After mother was good enough and her cousin towards making sure that they got a little money in their pocket, about what, $65,000 apiece. So you wouldn't even be worth that.
I know. That's what I don't understand. I don't understand the reasoning.
You know, I'll never have the type of respect or dignity for Julie ever again, because the way that she misled me, telling me this and telling me that, and oh, I'm all for your ministry, Dennis, and oh, I support it, and if I ever get any money, I'll be sure and give you some money, and I was even sending her children, made sure that I Western Union them money, making sure that they had Christmases and stuff, and then whenever she did get the money, I ain't heard hide or hair from her since.
Yeah, and she gave money to perfect strangers on the street, and I'm like, what? Why did you help somebody, some homeless person on the street? Which I understand helping a homeless person. But you know what I'm saying? She'll do this oddball. I told Nick that she proved to me that she's not responsible. She's not a rational.
Not honest. That's just like what I've been dealing with here pertaining to laborers. You know, I've been promised now by 2 different laborers that they'd come out here and help me build my wheelchair ramp, and I have yet to see either one of them actually come out here and pick up a hammer and do anything for me. Now, the one did come out here and look the situation over and told me, oh yeah, I'll be out here Saturday, and supposed to be got in a wreck Saturday. Then he was going to be here Monday. Well, he didn't show up Monday. Then I waited till Tuesday, and the person that I was working with called me up and said, well, he told me he's going to be up here in the morning. Ain't seen hide or hair of him. This is Thursday.
Wow.
So people will lie to you quicker than they'll tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I've never seen society go so unbelievably raw.
I know. Isn't it terrible?
It is terrible. It's hard.
I thought after the course of the year, see if I can't find a handyman running that in the paper, but I don't know what I'll come up with. See if I can't get this siding, just have it patched and then have it painted. Paint it and then put a sealant over it, you know?
Well, if it's not no bigger than what you're talking about, is it on the side of the house that it more than likely is going to get wet on?
Yeah, and the air conditioner drips. That's where I'm having some problems.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm like, well, just one side of the house is basically, but the siding, it needs painting. It needs to be painted.
Do you still got that other car? You still got 2 vehicles?
Yeah, I've still got it.
You still got Johnny's vehicle?
Yeah, Johnny's, the hatchback comes in handy.
You can load it down, right?
Yeah, if I had to haul anything, then that's the car I use, because it's not a pickup truck, but it's, you know, I can put my,
You do have a pickup truck?
Huh?
You do have a pickup truck?
No, I don't. I have the Mazda, though. It's got the hatchback.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I told you, if you ever want to get rid of that thing, let me know.
Yeah, no, I'm not ready to get rid of it. I don't want to get rid of it.
Okay.
So, you know, I mean, if it comes down to where my house gets real bad and I have to get rid of it, then it's a different story. But right now, I want to keep it.
Well, right now ain't the time to go out and take no second mortgage out on your house. I'm going to tell you right now, because interest rate has jumped up again, and it's unbelievable how much these banks are trying to make up for lost time in raising the interest rate again and again and again, kind of like what we was talking about a while ago. The way that the governments, after giving out all those stimulus checks, had to make up their money somewhere or another, and that's probably the way that they made it up towards allowing for the petroleum companies to jab everybody the way that they did, because the majority of people out there, if they don't actually own stock in an oil rig, the money people, the big people, they own stock in the oil stock that they make money off of. Yeah.
Wow.
So they're not going to cut their own throats pertaining to saying anything about these people that are jabbing everybody, even though if a hurricane hits down on the coastline somewhere down in Mississippi somewhere, and I go down there with a truckload of ice and I want to start making money off of ice, and I put a price tag on it of $20 for a 2-pound bag of ice, I get arrested for gouging.
Yeah.
I get arrested for taking advantage of the public.
I know.
Price gouging. They call it price gouging, but yet no, they can do it and get away with it.
I know. It's what they're doing is they're actually, in all reality, against the law. You know.
It is. It is against
They
the law.
Yeah. Man.
So could you only imagine if you was living in some of these third world developing countries right now, how bad it is in some of these countries right now?
Yeah, I know.
We think it's bad here in America, in which it is in different spots. But in some areas in the world, I'd rather be dead than even think about living there. You wonder how come so many people are coming from South America and Mexico towards all the immigrants? Well, it's because it's gotten so hot and dry down there, especially in Mexico City itself. Mexico City is like 30 million people, and they've been on a Tier 2 water restriction now for about the past 3 or 4 years. And the way that I understand things, their water supply is still dwindling to the point that they're the next thing of going on a Tier 3. And once you get on a Tier 3, you don't go no more than Tier 3. Basically, Tier 3 is not only monitoring the water going into your house, but also monitoring the water coming out of your house pertaining to your exposals. So it has gotten, with the drug culture down there, with all the cartels and all the gun violence and the rapes and the murders, it's just out of control in some of these countries, Joe. And that's the reason why so many people are getting out of there.
Yeah.
Which I don't blame them for wanting to leave there. If I had a wife and $2 or $3, I wouldn't want to be living down there neither. But you would think that they'd at least have the decency, if they want to come up here and live with the Americans, that they'd do it legally.
Yeah, I know. Yep. It seems like they would want to, you know.
It's
get better jobs.
It's millions of people. It's millions of illegal immigrants that's coming over to America every year.
I know, it's terrible.
Last month, in the month of September, 30,000 immigrants.
Oh man.
Or maybe I may be wrong. It may be more like 300,000. It was an unbelievable number.
Yeah.
But they're coming over in groves. Caravans. We're talking about 2,000 or 3,000 people coming up at one time.
Wow.
Like a stampede.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
what's driving them out of there?
I guess I'm thinking they don't have no jobs.
It's the atmosphere. It's the drug cartels. It's the rapists. It's the murders. It's the water restrictions. It's the heat. They're getting out of there. They rather die than they would to live down there.
Yeah.
And it's basically gotten that way in other parts of the world too as well. Down on the Horn of Africa, it's gotten so dry down there that even the elephants and the tigers are having trouble living.
Yeah, there's a lot of Africans. They go through religious groups just to get out of that country. You know.
And also the headhunters has come out pertaining to the Zulus. Basically, cannibalism is beginning to be another predominant thing that's happening in different parts of the world, including down in South America.
Mhm. Yeah.
Colombia, Belize, Chile, Brazil, all them places down there.
Yeah.
It's happening all over, Joanne.
Yeah, I know.
And it's happening just like the scripture says, that in the last days, the true worshipers that will worship him in truth and in spirit will basically be entrenched. It talks about an entrenchment. And these are the words of red. And it says that they will be entrenched by their enemies round about, to the point that the true worshipers that the Father seeketh those who worship him in truth and in spirit. And those will be the people that will rise out of the ashes. Those will be the people that God protects. And those will be the people that will come out on top pertaining to the meek inheriting the earth.
Yeah. Mhm.
You hear me?
Yep, I agree.
But it's tough. It's tough right now. We're going through some tough times, and the way I see it, it's even going to get tougher, especially if things keep evolving like there was. You know, whenever the ordeal happened in Ukraine, that disconnected about 20 million people. 20 million people had to go to other countries, surrounding countries. Well, at first, they was all lovey-dovey. Oh, yeah, y'all come on over. We don't mind you coming over. Well, now they're cramping their lifestyles, and now those people are having to sacrifice for them people going over there, and now their attitude has changed about all the Ukrainians being run out of their own country. So one problem creates another problem that escalates into another problem, and right now we're in a spiraling trajectory of going down and not up. And that's on every level in every country. And if you can't see that, something's wrong.
Yeah.
I know that me and you can, but I'm just saying, generally speaking, if you can't see that, something's wrong.
Yeah.
I never would have thought that I would have seen. See, I don't preach the last days. You know, there's been different ministries that's come to America, even all the way back in the 1700s. The Methodists had a big revival. Baptists had a big revival. Then there's been big revivals through the Billy Graham ministry, Pat Robinson ministry, Orlando ministry, Jimmy Swaggart's ministry, camp meeting ministries. There's been mighty movements of God here in America that preach the last day message. The last days. I don't preach the last day message. I preach the final last day message.
Yeah.
We're not just living in the last days. We're living in the final last days, Joanne.
Yeah. Yeah. The final last days. Yeah, you're right.
The final last days.
Yep.
And I truly believe that this COVID stuff was just the beginning phases of it.
Yeah, that COVID stuff. You know, and my doctor told me he won't schedule me any appointments during the winter months because of COVID cases. So he says, because last year he said he had a lot of COVID cases last year. So even though it's not on the news anymore and all that, that they get swamped with people coming down with COVID.
All it is a souped up flu. You don't no longer hear of people catching the flu. Now you hear of people catching COVID.
It's a foreign flu from some other country.
Yeah, it's like superimposed or something, huh?
Yeah.
But I think some of that's also spiritual, pertaining to that the Bible says those that are not producing fruit, he will basically hewn down those trees, using trees as an example towards metaphors towards being humans. That if you're not producing, if you're not staying in the presence of the Lord and doing what the Lord is asking you to do, he'll just hewn you down, or allow for the devil to hewn you down towards getting you out of here.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
No, stay in the Word. That's all I know.
Well, it's a part of that rebuking. If those that are lukewarm, I will rebuke thee out of thy mouth. It's a part of being rebuked.
Yeah.
And he can either rebuke a whole society, or a neighborhood, a community, a country, or an individual.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. Well, listen, it's been good talking to you today, and thank you for having enough concern towards leaving a message the way that you did last night, towards telling me that you was trying to get a hold of me. But yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm trying to get things taken care of. That way, whenever I do have to lay up from November through basically March, maybe by the time March gets here, I can actually get to the point that I can start putting some pressure on that ankle. But with me going through that previous injury, falling off that building, and now I've got ankle on bone, bone on ankle rubbing together, and of course I've got screws and stuff like that in my left ankle. You know, it crushed both ankles, but it's just got to the point, Joanne, that I'm not going to be able to endure this arthritis that is set up in that, because last year it almost killed me whenever it did get cold and wet and damp. Oh, it was bad. It was bad.
Oh, wow.
Yep. I've got electronical stimulators now that I put on my ankle that sends out these electronic, whatever you call them, and that seemed to help a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Supposed to do something to the dorphones in your brain towards releasing a certain pain stuff in your brain to help to eliminate the pain so bad. But whenever you're out here working on your feet, especially since I've become obese on that left ankle, sometimes it becomes so painful that I become nauseated. I almost feel like throwing up, and I know it's because of the pain. I know it's because of the pain. Some people can't handle pain.
No, I can't.
Some people can't handle pain at all. Now my right ankle, whenever they went ahead and fused it after the initial tragedy took place, it don't bother me.
Oh, okay.
It don't bother me. You know why?
Yeah.
Because the ankle bone now is the same as the leg bone, just one bone. So basically, the only movement that I have in that right foot is in the arch of that foot.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But now I'll have to go through that same adjustment period towards whenever I get the left ankle fused of going through that same stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, no.
Yep. It'll be painful. And the bad thing about it is it'll be more severe this time because I'm 62 and I am a diabetic.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
In other words, if I don't take care of myself properly, it could get infected, and the next thing you know, have to have a leg amputated or a foot amputated or whatever. That could actually be the death of me. So I'm really going to have to be in prayer from about the middle of November on. So if you don't mind, remember me in prayer, Joanne.
Okay, I will. Yeah, I will. Make sure you call. Let me know. Keep me updated. Keep me posted.
But I do hope, Angela and Julie, I do hope that they start cooperating a little bit better with you. Have you ever let them know your feelings about how you feel, the way that they've given you the cold shoulder this way? Or maybe what did you either said or done or didn't do that has caused them to be the way that they are?
Yeah, Julie just says that because, I was a cruel mom, so that's why, that I was mean and hateful. I'm like, no, it wasn't, So she's just saying, and Angela, I don't know,
Well, I've been falsely accused of being a deadbeat dad, and because of a son that can't be realistical in understanding that basically 1979 he wasn't but about maybe 4 or 5 months old. It took me a while to be able to re-heal and get back on my feet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And of course, I can't help it the things that his mother's brainwashed him in. Whenever his mother wound up turning towards going in the Afghanistan or Pakistan or Arab communities, basically being raised up by a foreigner, and ain't no telling what kind of stuff that she's told him about me or whatever.
I know.
So, I'll have to let him make his own decisions about what he does. But about a month or so ago, I took him about probably $1,000 to $1,500 worth of stuff down there. A lot of baby stuff and new grills and all kinds of camping equipment and a bunch of stuff. I'm basically a bargain shopper, and it ain't nothing for me to go to Walmart and go over in the clearance aisle and just scan through it and see if there may be something in there that would be interested in either me having or the baby having or whatever. I'm always shopping for her now towards buying clothes and toys and etc. But it's got to the point, Joanne, that I sent a box just the other day, about 2 weeks ago, not even 2 weeks ago, down there where he lives, and the box was probably about 18 inches wide by about 18 inches deep by about 12 inches the other way. It cost $7 for the box and packing, but it cost $40 to send the box, which added up to $47 to send 9 pounds of toys and clothes to my son.
Oh, wow.
$47, 9 pounds of clothes and 9 pounds of toys all added together. And I got to thinking about it because I am a bargain shopper. I actually put more money in the express mail than I did for the items that I was mailing.
I know, yeah. I know it costs to mail anything anymore. Yeah.
So you know what I've decided to do next time I talk to my son? I'm going to tell him. Don't be looking for no more mailing expresses coming from Dad. I said, if I do anything, I'll send you a Western Union, send you a money order or something like that, and you can take that money order and go buy whatever she needs to buy. But as far as me taking the money and blowing it and helping support UPS or FedEx, I ain't gonna do it no more.
Yeah, I know.
I ain't gonna do it no more.
Yeah, I know.
And I don't know if you know this or not, but UPS and FedEx is basically what's helping to bring this country down, because these kids today, especially since COVID has hit, they no longer want to go to the mall. They don't want to no longer go to a mom and papa shop somewhere and do their shopping. They rather do it online and have it shipped to them.
That's what Angela does.
Have it shipped to them. That's basically causing that many more mama papa shops to go bad. Matter of fact, the mall in Dyersburg has either shut down or fixing to shut down on account of that very reason. You got to have foot traffic if you're going to stay in business.
Yeah, and the malls, well, all those mall shootings, people stay away from malls. But another thing, the malls, like our mall in Jeff City, a lot of the good stores that they had are shut down. They have nothing but crappy stores in their mall.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Stores that you would never really shop there.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And I'm like, man, this mall's turned to crap.
So artificial intelligence pertaining to the online internet, social media, it's changing our whole concept of life.
Yeah, it is. And then the internet, you don't really know what you're getting until you get it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, and then good luck returning this stuff and get your money back if you don't like it.
Or you buy, are these women that buy something from like where they get frequencies and stuff like that.
Yeah. Then like I ordered these t-shirts because they were cute. I'm like, I think I'll order them, and I ordered an extra large, but their sizing is different than like if you go in the store.
And it swallowed you whole.
Yeah, so I should have ordered to get the right fit, an extra large, but you don't know what you're ordering until you actually get it.
How about if you order something from the bath place that you think is going to have this kind of odor to it, but whenever you get it, it don't have the right odor to it, and you got to send it down to have it to get a refund on it to begin with. So this mailing express thing, it's out of hand.
It is. And Angela, see, I got that from Angela because I'm like, well, Angela orders. But see, Angela orders everything, and then she returns stuff. Like, she'll wrap it back up. She's so used to it. Hey, Mom, and then instead of Angela doing the footwork, it's, hey, Mom, on your way home or on your way to work, can you drop this off at the post office, And it won't be something lightweight. It'll be something like a big, huge box. And I'm like, why? It's, I'm returning that.
You know what Elon Musk and you know what Elon Musk and the founder of Facebook said just recently? That social media is going to destroy civilization.
Yeah, well, people, it's a non-personal contact. See, now that's what I go through with even Nicole. You don't actually hear a voice. You just type a bunch of letters. I'm like, I dread it when I get old and my eyesight won't let me text,
Right.
Because nobody will talk to you,
Right.
So, you'll basically have, as far as my kids and grandkids, you'll have dead silence because...
How about all these robots? How about all these robots and talking to animated recordings and stuff like that? I really don't feel comfortable in talking to an animated recording.
Just to get on, okay, workforce is going all computer, like check your schedule, like Eagle Stop. Well, I had to get on the darn computer, and they'll ask you this question, are you a robot? I'm like, and you have to say yes or no, No, I'm not a robot. I just want to pop up this.
How about the thing pertaining to the unisex stuff, to where now you're not considered either a male or female. You're just a it.
I know. That's being a.
Are the LGBT community, where the boys is having their ding dong cut off and turning themselves into a female, that way they can take showers with the rest of the girls in high school. I mean, this thing's out of control. This thing's out of control.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's terrible.
It is
Yeah.
terrible.
They homeschool. Homeschool. A lot of parents homeschool their kids. Just to avoid all that craziness.
Have you ever thought, whenever it comes to this snatch and grab stuff, where there'll be like 25 or 50 people that are going to like a Macy's or something, a high-end store, and rob everything real quick and then run out? Have you ever thought that maybe if they had something to slime them people with, somebody press a button that sent out this gas and make everybody kind of like ink? Whenever you get robbed, they put this ink explosion thing in a bag of money. That way, whenever it's activated, it gets all the money colored to the point that you can't go out here and spend it without people being suspicious that it must have been stolen money. I've actually gotten a hold of money that way that was colored. Usually it's colored orange or red or something. But
Yeah.
have you ever thought maybe they could slime people like on Ghostbusters, slime them? That way they wind up walking around with this colored dye all over them. That would be a way of detecting you. You just got to be in slime, so you must have done something illegal.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I don't know.
Yep. I'm getting a call right now. Let me get this call and I'll talk to you later, okay?
Okay, Dennis. All right. Take care.
All right, bye.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello? Hello? Hey, Mr. Rollins, how are you doing, sir?
Pretty good yourself.
I can't complain.
Well, I guess you can, because you can't find a carpenter to help you with your damn ramp, right?
That's it.
I heard.
Yeah. That's it, man. You know how that goes. I've already had two different laborers promise me, "Oh, I'll be there, and I ain't seen hide or hair of them yet.
Huh.
Where are you at? Where are you at now? Did you ever get an operation or anything?
Well, I didn't get an operation, but I got my heart taken care of.
Okay, that's a good thing, right?
And I'm under medication for it, so that's a good thing.
Okay.
And they gave me the all clear on getting my head, so I contacted the team in Chicago to let them know that and I'm just pending on them to get back to me after they get the clearance from down here.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm in town.
Okay, where are you at now?
I'm in Greenfield.
Okay, staying over there at your friend's house?
At one of them. And I brought somebody with me.
Yeah, I was told that. I was told that you done hooked up with somebody. Congratulations for that.
Yep. God showed me a way, and me and this girl's got a whole lot more in common than what meets the eye.
Good for you.
Yep.
Good for you. Because God did not intend for man to be alone.
Oh, I agree 100% there. Well, I'm thinking the next couple days after this rain passes, I'll swing over there and take a look at what you got.
Okay, I appreciate that.
And see which direction we're going to go with that thing.
Well, I've already got it started.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
In what side?
In behind where the back trailer is.
Okay.
I still had, you probably went upstairs, I don't know if you remember this or not, but I still had several big planks up there, 2x8s, that was like almost 20 foot long.
Yeah.
I'm using those for my runners.
Okay.
That way I don't have to have so many 2x10s or 2x8s.
Okay. You're going 3 to 4 of those across so that you got room enough in case you need a wheelchair?
Right. 30,
Okay.
Supposed to be 36 inches wide is what the standard wheelchair thing is.
Right.
And I'm having to attach it onto where those steps was on that back deck.
Okay.
And I think there's going to still be enough room to be able to still get up on one side of the steps, but I'll probably have to cut one of those posts and actually add and probably remodify the deck a little bit. That way, if I wanted to go up the steps by using the steps, I could do that, or use the wheelchair ramp, either or.
Okay. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we made it wide enough.
Yeah, he was wide enough down there. So 36 inches is going to take up probably basically 2/3.
Yeah.
But no, I'm glad you called. I couldn't get to you quick enough. I was talking to my cousin out in Missouri. I hadn't talked to her in a while, and it is raining here a little bit off and on. But we actually needed some rain because it was getting so dry that it was a fire hazard.
Oh yeah, big time.
Are you going to be staying at Greenfield indefinitely, or what? What's up with that?
Oh yeah, Michelle has already violated my room, so
I've been told that.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, it was her friends that supposedly had these carpenter skills that kept lying to me. Oh, I'll be there in the morning. No show. Oh, I'll be there in the morning. No show. Then Sheila calls. Well, my friend told me that they'll be there in the morning. No show.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's all shit. That's all Kathy's flunkies.
Yeah.
And so, you can't trust
one of them is Scott. Do you know Scott?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, one of them is Scott. I haven't seen Chris in a while. And the old man, I've seen him out there working on the truck. You know what they done on the truck? Have you heard the story on the truck?
Don't care.
Well, they put the heads back on the truck, but they didn't grease the rod bearings or something like that. And whenever they turned the truck over, it bent every damn one of them. So she's gonna have to take the damn heads off the damn truck again and be at that much expense. Plus, go get those long rods that goes in there.
Yeah, all those push rods.
All those push rods.
Yep.
But that's what you get whenever you try to, if you're gonna.
You try to save $1 or a dime by having John Q. Public do it.
Try to save $1 and end up spending 100.
Oh yeah, yeah. In her case, it'll be 1,000.
Probably.
Yeah.
She's wasted more money in the past 3 years since y'all's dad died than probably anybody I'd ever know.
I know. That's
because it ain't nothing uncommon for her to fork out $20, $30, $40 a day for cat.
Oh, I know. And
every day.
And the big push for me to violate my room. The big push is to get me out because Kathy wants to move in the main house.
Maybe, I don't know.
She was talking to my girlfriend yesterday about that. And she says, yeah, my daughter can't wait to move in here. I says, yeah, well, I was in the back room getting some of my important papers and my medication that I had left. I needed and everything, and
you ain't got to tell me. I already know the whole story.
Oh yeah.
They're steadily weeding you right on out, and of course, whenever you abandoned the situation towards leaving the way that you did, now you just gave her that much more leadway towards not only getting you out, but keeping you out.
Oh, that's no big deal. That's minor compared to what's going to come her way.
Good deal.
Oh yeah.
Good deal.
Yep.
So you're over there in what's her name's house?
No.
Okay, you're not staying over there by what was her name?
Jill.
Jill. You're not staying with Jill?
Nope.
Are you in that same vicinity?
I'm in Greenfield.
I know, but Greenfield, are you on the same side of the tracks of Greenfield? Are you in the same facility? Are you over there on the other side of Greenfield?
Don't worry about it, buddy. I'm here somewhere.
Oh, you don't want to be identified.
I don't want nobody that knows Sheila or anything of the such to
there
know
you
where
go.
I am and what I'm doing.
There you go. Well, that's your business.
That's right.
And if you don't want to share that with people, I don't blame you.
I don't. Previous experience is better to be tight-lipped.
There you go. The less said, the better off.
Sometimes.
Yep. But you're going to try to come out here tomorrow or the day after tomorrow? What? Today's Thursday.
As soon as it dries out, because what we're going to do, we're going to be in the mud.
No. I've got all that with carpet down and everything.
Oh, yeah, I know, but that carpet will hold water, so it's going to have to dry out a little bit.
Couple hours.
Yeah.
Because I went out there and cleaned out all that. Remember, I had that stack of wood and those, I guess, 6x4s or whatever it was, those treated blocks. I had to move all that because that's going to be my walkway.
Okay.
But there's carpet and stuff already down there. Of course, I had to clean it real good with a water hose and take a rake and get everything out of there. But yeah, I had to clean all that because that's basically going to be my walkway.
Yeah, good Lord's taking care of that today.
Yeah, absolutely.
I washed the windows here, so of course it was going to rain.
There you go. But you plan on staying here indefinitely or what?
Yeah, until they're ready to do the surgery up north.
Well, even then, you're still going to have a place to live afterwards.
Oh yeah, that'll be taken care of.
And you know how much extra that it costs to live up there.
Yeah, I know.
You're talking about what, 3 times more than what it does in Tennessee to live up there?
Oh, at least.
So you're actually better off to live down here if you can.
I know, but you know what? Hey, the surgery is up there, and if I have to do radiation afterwards, then well, I'm gonna have to get the church involved and everybody else and whatever else I got to do.
Right.
You know, and if I got to spend the money, I got to spend the money.
Well, I appreciate you thinking about me, Donald. I never would have thought that I got a telephone call from you towards coming over here helping me build a wheelchair ramp. I appreciate your concern about all that.
Not a problem. Hey, man, you're my friend, so I got to take care of my friends.
I appreciate that.
I couldn't call myself a decent human being, or at least a decent Christian if I didn't.
I appreciate that. I really do. Are y'all still going to that same church you was going to there for a while?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if that was about. I'm looking here at your telephone call. It seems like you've changed telephone call here, but it still showed up Don Rollins here. But you got a Tennessee number here, 446-2661.
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't send me no pictures. It'll shut my phone down.
I got you.
Okay.
I got you. But I appreciate you calling, and I can look forward to seeing you. Maybe tomorrow or Saturday, or
I'm thinking Saturday would be a good day.
Okay.
By that time, it all should be dried up, and at least this way, if we're kneeling down or something like that, our knees ain't gonna get wet and puckered.
Yep. I need a good cutting man, that's for sure.
Yep, exactly.
But I did hang one of those 2x8s yesterday.
You run it as a stringer?
Uh-huh. 2x8, 18 foot long. I went in and dug a hole and put a post and measured everything out, got the post real straight, put concrete around the post, and went ahead and screwed in one of the runners. So I do have it started. It's going to be 18 foot plus 10, so in total it's going to be 28 foot or 27 foot length, which is actually not meeting the Pacific specifications.
What do you mean? A foot for an inch?
Foot for inch, yes.
Yeah, a foot for a foot.
But you know what? If I go any further out with the thing, it's going to be in the driveway towards me being able to go underneath that metal, and I don't want to do that. But I did want it to be up until that point because that's the only thing. Basically, I got graveled.
Yeah.
I got it graveled up underneath the steel that me and David put down for the upper hand deck that I was going to pour.
Yeah.
That's been graveled all the way probably about another 10 or 15 foot. So I know I won't get stuck if the bottom just falls out and the damn ground just gets rottener than hell.
Right.
Because I'm still going to have to get in and out. I'm still going to have to bring groceries in. I'm still going to have to maintain my independence if I'm going to stay out here.
No, exactly. Yeah. I figured you would have done it all the way toward the garage. You know, up and over.
I thought about that, going over there where David's black Durango is, but then again, I don't have no driveway, no rock now.
Yeah, true.
And that meant that I would have to take my crutches and go across that wet grass, and good luck on that whenever the ground's just totally freaking soaked and rotten.
Well, not if we make an L.
What kind of L?
Well, like off the top of the deck there, all the way down to probably about maybe straight off going south.
Like a zigzag or
Probably
something? I've seen them made that way.
Probably 18 feet.
Yeah, I've
And
seen them that
and
way.
then keep it off the ground about maybe another 8 or 10 inches.
Yeah,
And
once
then take a
once you
right.
get out here, you identify that I'm just going just a straight runner. It's the quickest, easiest way. That way you can cut all your planks the same length. I've got all them 2x8s that I got in that old trailer that I'm basically going to use for the flooring, and then I'm going to take oil and I'm going to saturate the freaking stuff down with.
It'll keep the bugs off it and everything
Keep
else.
the bugs off of it. Maybe try to make it more waterproof by spraying it down with black oil, burn oil, and then I've got a thing of shingles over here. I'm going to put down to give me my traction.
Okay, that'll be okay. I mean, you can utilize it that way.
Yeah.
And the shingles will actually repel a lot of the water, and that tar will stick to the oil.
It sure will. There you go.
Yeah, that works.
There you go. I hope I got enough shingles. I bought one bundle.
It's not too steep of an incline when you're on the thing going whee all the way down.
Well, hopefully I won't be in a wheelchair. Hopefully I'll be able to do what I need to do just on crutches.
Like 300%.
But even on crutches, that can be very
hazardous.
Yes, it can if you don't have things set up right.
Yeah, and if you're carrying something.
Yep.
You might want to run a pulley system too.
I hear you. That wouldn't be a bad idea, would it?
No.
That way I could put it on the hook and just once I get to the porch, just drag it over to me.
No, once you get all the way to the top, you just pull the thing like a clothesline and pull it up.
Absolutely. That it wouldn't be a bad idea, would it?
Because it'd be in a basket.
That wouldn't be a bad idea, would it?
Nope, not at all. Great minds think alike.
The main thing on being crippled up like that is to have a railing or something that you can hold to.
Yeah. Once you get up there, then you can do something else.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. All right. I look forward to seeing you, man.
Take care of yourself.
Bye.
Bye.